is a new episode of Let's Talk About It. But first,
coming through.
What's going on, everybody? Jeremy back again with Remy Q Studios. I want to welcome you to my studio. We have the very lovely Miss Angel with us today.
Hello.
I got to tell you, I'm excited about this one.
Yes.
I know
Very
you're
excited.
excited about this one.
I am
This has
excited.
been a hard push for you.
Yes.
Something that we were talking. Gosh, I'm trying to think. We were talking about this for since last year. C2E2.
Was it C2E?
C2E2 was in
No.
December. It's almost been a full year.
Was it in
Yeah, I almost feel
I thought it was in
ridiculous.
North Carolina.
Nope. This
Wow.
was C2E2. It was December. It was like early December.
Yes.
It's almost been a full year. I
it
can't.
was in Chicago.
I feel like such a slacker because of this.
You are a slacker.
Do you want to introduce our guest of the evening here, or how do you want to do this?
Yes. So I'm very excited to introduce H.H. German from Sigma Comics. And you guys may know him from something called Calico.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really
Yay!
excited you were able to come on tonight.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being champions of our fight against animal abuse. We were able to get the job done thanks to people like yourselves.
Well, thank you.
I got to tell you, I was, I know that when we stopped by the booth, and again, it just hit me. It was at C2E2. Stopped by the booth. We got issues 1 through 4, and I downloaded issue 5.
Yeah.
Not what I expected.
No.
Not what I expected at all. I have to commend you though, because it's something that a lot of like Kickstarters and independent books and everything, that you always wonder how the artwork, how the story is going to be. I like that the story wasn't what I expected, and artwork was phenomenal. I know that there's been some other reviews out there, folks. Let me actually embiggen myself real quick. I'm sure that you've seen this through YouTube and through, again, some other reviews, but really, really fantastic artwork that you guys put in here, and very unique story. Again, just not what I was expecting.
No, not at all.
You definitely had the warning on there that it was for mature audience.
Right.
You
Yes.
delivered. You delivered for sure.
This is not a comic that you read with your kids until they're 21.
And Angel
That's
has
for sure.
always, as a pet trainer and a pet sitter, and just everything that involves that. I think that she's always. When you heard the story of this, that was really
Oh yeah.
the story of the company. I think
Oh,
is
yeah.
what really
Yeah.
locked you into this.
The first page is a little brutal, and I was like, whoa. And he goes, wait a minute, before you walk away, this is what we do. We're getting the message out of there. And I was like, yep, sign me up, I'll buy them all. And, I think it's really important. And this is I believe that, I think it was you that said this is like Gandhi and the Punisher.
Yeah.
And that's very, very much.
Yeah.
This is he's definitely fighting for something,
Oh, he didn't hold back.
and he
That
doesn't
was the
hold
thing.
back. And the thing is, as a trainer, you have to educate people, and some people are uneducated about how to take care of animals, and so there may be some neglect. These people are not those people. These people are truly, truly evil people,
Right.
and they get a little bit just desserts, I would say.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but has this been something that's always been near to your heart? Is Calico based on a little bit of you? Like the best of what we all aspire to be?
Right. Good question. So yes and yes. I'm from the Bronx. I'm a former boxer from the Bronx. And that's a pretty intense combination. Growing up, I got into quite a few fights. I've been in hundreds of fights, to be perfectly frank. I've learned how to fight very well. I graduated to professional fighting. I basically endeavored in the amateur ranks here in New York City, which is unequivocally, one of the top fighting programs, if not the country, in the world. That meant that I rubbed shoulders with some of the top fighters in the world, and I sparred with them. These are really tough fighters, world champions in some cases. And I was doing that as a teenager.
Right.
Unfortunately, growing up where I did and how I did, it wasn't just bullying against people that I witnessed. I've witnessed people that are some pretty just dregs of humanity do just horrendous things to creatures, animals. And I'm always been a huge animal lover. And, I had to do what I had to do. By that time, I knew how to, defend myself to the point where I could defend others. And that's what I did. So I have some, the story of the Calico is a morphed and aggrandized, I should say, version of what I went through, as a kid growing up in the Bronx and seeing some pretty, for lack of a better word, crappy things. And seeing how people treat others. So it's not just how they treat animals, but, just how we treat each other.
Right.
And it's just common decency, in my opinion, to, live and let live and not try to poke at things that, just because you don't know about something or someone or, you just let things happen and learn. If you don't know about these things, learn about them. Don't try to poke at them or hurt them because you lack knowledge of these things. That's really the essence of what fear is. A lot of people fear things that they don't understand, and that causes them to immediately, clench their fist and try to attack what they don't know. And what I'm saying is, I had the benefit of growing up despite the dangers of where I grew up in a, very warm, educated household that instilled in me that understanding that, you don't fight what you know, you listen, you sit back and you try to learn and listen, and maybe you might learn something and try to overcome whatever fears you have. And that's really what it was. It was applied learning at the home. And, it was also on the street too, because, you have life lessons that you learn on the street. So it was a balance. And I think that's really what it was. And that's really the story of the Calico. The Calico is a story of a man. He's a former fighter from the Bronx who's just recently moved to Brooklyn. And right. And he has a job that he does every night. And he's got a whole network of people that help him in this capacity. He was chosen for it specifically because of his background. And he's comparably good at it. So that's where we start the story.
And I thought that was actually pretty neat because you do it seems like there's a lot of different New York areas that you reference in the book itself, and the boxing component is so big in it as well because every issue has some sort of component in the gym, which is of course the finest gym that the world has to offer. So I saw you championing that. I was like, that's awesome. But yeah, it was definitely that was a cool element of that. And you kind of have there's certain parts, especially with issue 1, where it goes into like a memory sequence.
Yes.
Where Hector's a child and kind of that experience, and then it fast forward, and again you have different places throughout New York. So yeah, it definitely makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you're saying, and his upbringing is seminal to the story, right? So here's a situation where, we're all human, right? And we've all had bullies, and in his case, he had a bully, at a very young age, and he listened and learned to his environment. He saw a cat who was, small in comparison to this, bully and this big dog that was going to come after them. Basically, stand up for himself, and in turn, actually wind up chasing both of them, out of the situation. So, kids we don't do enough. I think we, as a society, and I could speak from my personal experience. I'm a Gen Xer, and I grew up in a time where lessons were taught by cracking a couple of eggs on a frying pan.
Yeah.
And you just can't do that today. The kids, it's insulting. Today's kids are very perceptive. They're incredibly smart. And you say what you will about the generation, the current one and the one coming up here. But man, they're smart. They see how things work, and they're curious about the world, and they're not just simply going to stay quiet. And I think that's great, and that's why we felt very confident that we could start the book right on page 1 with an incredibly shocking scene that I know for a fact would turn away a lot of people, a good portion of our audience. We did that.
I tell you, she had to take a break there. Like it was, she cracked that up. Well, actually, I think when you picked it up,
Oh yeah.
that was the first thing you did. You open it up and you're like, "Ooh, I don't know about this." And then
Well,
again,
because-
once hearing the story and everything,
Right. Because I'm one of those people that when I watch a movie, if the dog gets it,
oh yeah,
I'm like,
she'll
I'm out.
stop. Yeah, she's,
Well, listen, it's a testament to what we've just presented here. And,
Yeah.
Angel, you just confronted a very, very powerful scene that
Right.
would make most people run away.
right.
And you took it, it impacted you visibly, and
Yeah.
and it was hard. And listen, let's be frank. There was a wave of negative emotions that was not ready at that particular moment to accept that. So you just had to swallow, take it, and understand it for what it was. And guess what? You came back and you gave it a chance. And that's all we asked for. And and to the audience, this is this wonderful team here. They mentioned to you in the intro, this is not for kids. This is not for everyone. We do not sugarcoat the topic of animal abuse. We have a hero that will literally break down your door, rip your spine out of your mouth, and do something to it. And
Absolutely.
that guy does not take crap from anyone, and he's going to make sure that he protects the animals at all costs, because frankly, he's not a people person. He does not like people. He loves animals.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think there's always a different, but there's an honesty to animals that maybe some humans don't have. I work with a lot of people, that punish their dogs for growling. And it's like, well, you could do that, but they're basically saying you need to respect my space. And if you take that away, then you have you have an alarm that's going to go off that you're not going to recognize. So there's so many different body languages that one of the things that I would like to do in my area is just education for children, because if somebody is aware of the body language of the barking, lunging dog, most people are not going to go pet that dog.
right.
But the scared ones that are like, I don't know what to do, stay away.
Right.
I'm good with dogs. Let me pet you. And then that dog ends up biting somebody. And it's just that not understanding, which is so important, just educating, these people, that's not their problem.
No, the calico. See, that's a great point that you make, right? So, as a writer, as a human, living in reality, I understand human nature. Okay, I'm in my mid 40s, going on late 40s, and I've lived enough life to the point where I have a good sense of understanding human nature, right?
Right.
As the calico is also let's call him 40. Okay, so he's lived quite a bit of life. The thing with the calico, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about educating you or doing anything.
No.
When he sees you beating, abusing, or killing an animal, you're basically going out. You're going to be gone from the planet. And this is to say that we finally have a hero. Let's call him an anti-hero.
And yes.
That defends animals at all costs, and that's really his shtick. His shtick is, there's a problem, and the problem is animal abuse, and I'm going to dedicate my life to preventing animal abuse and doing it in a permanent way. Batman, we get compared to Batman a lot because he's a very dark and mysterious character. Even though we you mentioned earlier, there's bits and pieces that you're seeing about his past.
Right.
You're really going to get full circle when at the conclusion of the series, which is going to come in issue 8, where you're going to feel a lot of what his story is about. And there are some similarities to Batman. He's a dark character. He's had some trauma in the past, and he copes with things in a very sort of internal way. He's not a talkative person.
No.
He combats crime in a very hands-on approach kind of way, like Batman.
Right.
How he's unlike Batman is Batman is open to the philosophy of good versus evil, and he applies it. He basically captures the bad guy, understands that some of these people need to be reformed, and he hands him over to the police and Commissioner Gordon. Well, that's not the case with the Calico.
It's not, no.
Yeah. The Calico does not have any room for there's no room for rehabilitation in the Calico's world. Yeah.
And I
You're gonna
feel-
find yourself chained up in a room somewhere, and he's gonna have his way with you to teach you a lesson.
That's right.
Yeah, the
That's
Calico.
my example,
Right. The Calico makes the guy from the Saw movies look like Mother Teresa. So
I've never seen the Saw movie, but I can attest that's probably accurate.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a really interesting story, and I'm going to ask you the same question that we asked before because it was such a good answer about the profits of this book. You said it's a profit for organization,
Right.
but basically the money goes back into republishing and just getting this message out there that's so important.
Right. So we work strictly with charities. So we don't accept advertising. What we do is we provide free promotion to vetted charities, and the charities that we promote are vetted to make sure their program to operations ratio is over 85%. Most people don't know this, but when you see those warm and fuzzy ads or commercials on TV, unfortunately, a lot of these charities are very operations heavy. This is meaning that they take the money, and the money mostly goes to paying light bills and staff and whatnot, and very little of it actually goes to the program of that particular charity, right? So in the case of the charities that we work with, their program is the fight against animal abuse and taking animals out of poor situations, placing them into loving, warm, caring, productive situations. So that's really what Sigma Comics is all about. And in that capacity, we publish our comic books. So we rely on people like yourselves who are wonderful comic book fans, and also in your case, animal lovers. And that's really the market that we've created for ourselves. We know that we have a wonderful comic book market in the US, but we also have a huge animal loving and animal care industry. And we're speaking directly to people who are in animal care, animal welfare, animal rights, pet lovers. It is a huge market, right? Yeah. So this is all by design, and that's why we're a for-profit company. So it allows us to do the two things that we love, which is create comics, right?
Right.
And then at the same time also endeavor to fight animal abuse. And in our case, we're doing it with creativity, and that's why we rely on the support of our fans. And not many people know about us because we don't have the millions of dollars that Marvel and DC have, or even Image. So we're a little guy.
That was another thing that really surprised me, because it was I know that so we got the first 4 issues at C2E2 last year,
right?
And then I downloaded issue 5, but to purchase the copies, and I have the website in the description. Anybody who's interested in the chat, or if you're watching this on the rewind, it's a couple dollars. Like that, right. I can't believe that either. I mean, you guys really just took it bare bones,
right?
The digital copy was like $1.50, I think, and then the books were $2 or $3. I don't even think you had shipping on there or anything. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So I commend you for that, because I know that's something where everything just seems to be getting
more and more.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't go to the shop and pick up a book for
that,
a couple bucks. And you even have the option, I think, for just a reader copy. Like if it's if you're not trying to get like super pristine, hey, we got that for you too, just to get the book out there.
Yeah.
Right.
You can get that version. So that was definitely interesting to see.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's one of our differentiators, and frankly, it's one that I'm very proud of. Again, we're addressing both markets, the comic book and the animal rights market, animal care market. In the former, it's a big problem. There's no way you're going to get me to go into a comic book shop and pay $5-6 for a comic book, and then on top of that, some cases you're walking away with subpar quality. I mentioned I'm a Gen Xer, which means that I was reading comic books in the 80s and 90s. And man, let me tell you, we had some pretty great comic books during that time, right? So this is why we're often compared to the 90s, because frankly, I stopped reading comic books when I was about 19 and only got back into the industry, in my 40s. And I was shocked. It was almost night and day, and the storytelling, the artwork, there's some good stuff out there. Don't get me wrong. It's just that collectively speaking, all across the board, you had just incredible talent and dedication. And I think what's happened with the big two is they've put a lot of emphasis on these movies because, that's where the big bucks are. And they're just not being the creatives. You got incredibly talented people, working in Marvel DC that aren't, some of them aren't even making a livable wage, which is incredible because these are IPs that are, in the billions. Yeah. So it's really unfortunate. We're not going to do that to the people that work with us. We're going to pay a living wage, and we're going to put out a top shelf quality comic book with a great story, with wonderful artwork at a rock bottom price. And that's what you call respecting the customer.
Right.
Let me actually just ambigua myself real quick against it. In the YouTube it is. So and just as an example, so this is issue 4.
Yeah.
Incredible cover.
Yeah.
But for the folks that haven't cracked one of these open yet, the interior is equally as good. I'll give you full credit on that. I mean, it wasn't like you guys said, hey, you know what, we're going to put out an amazing cover and then skimp on everything else. I mean, through and through, it's amazing. And the characters look great. And it was nice because, again, I didn't know what I expected. I didn't expect that. You definitely hit the comic book image, though. It was like the villains, the superheroes, like everybody that was involved in the components fit that comic book feel, which is what was so neat. But man, he's ruthless. And I just think that was awesome.
He definitely does not play. One thing that I also appreciated was that, when I think of an animal abuser, I think of a big fat guy and a wife beater. You know what I mean? And these were like normal everyday people that you
a little bit. Everybody was mixed in there. Yeah,
you walk on the street and you were like, oh, you would never know.
Right.
That's And some of it does. If you are an animal lover, definitely take a deep breath.
Well, and it even
when you go in.
I mean, it's everything. There was just domestic animal abuse that was involved. There was exotic animal abuse that was there.
Right.
It was a little bit of everything. And I mean, while he is a loner, there's other components to it. There's a little bit of a team aspect that's there.
Yeah.
And so, it's interesting to see how everything's unfolding.
And what's interesting about you saying that and the team, is that
talking about Dog Mama?
Yeah. Dog Mama.
Yeah. Is that even to our core, like the abuse, we all still want to be loved.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all, even if it's a different type of love, right?
Yeah. I don't.
Therapy with Angel.
Yeah, the story unfolds in a very tiered way. There's a few different storylines that are happening, and of course, one overall arc, which is the search for Claw. And Claw is the big baddie who did a horrendous thing right on page 1. He's the one that we've talked about mysteriously. He's basically an a-hole.
Yeah.
Who beats an innocent dog. And unfortunately, it's just one of many videos that the Calico gets. It's just this guy's a world away, and he's difficult to track down. But because of Dog Mama, who we just mentioned here, Dog Mama is a central character in the story. Dog Mama is basically the eyes and ears of Calico outside of the street, and she's really the one that collects and gathers all the information in the files that the fourth order of Saint Francis Assisi creates. She's the one that goes out and assesses everything, finds out all the information about the person who's doing this bad stuff, and works the file until it gets to a certain point where it's safe for the Calico to go in and get the job done. And that's what the Calico is. Calico is the executive part of a branch of processes that are going off pretty much all at the same time. And Dog Mama is the studious part of it. She's the research, and she's wonderful. She has a dog named Chloe, and she lives in San Diego. And of course, no one knows this because no one really knows each other. Okay, that's the other part of this. You know, everybody's working behind the shadows.
Right.
The web is really how they link up through the fourth's intranet, and you know, it's a fascinating component, and Dog Mama plays a very pivotal role. If you guys ever seen the Netflix documentary "Don't Mess with Cats," there's a woman there who, you know, her role is to research these creeps who do stuff like this and then send the data to the authorities. Well, that's Dog Mom, except she's not sending the data to the authorities.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
They're probably
I
wishing
think
she
I was
did.
gonna say, yeah, I think for those people, they would wish that it went to the authorities, because this is a whole nother thing to conquer here.
Oh yeah. It's definitely a good read. You got to put your big girl, big boy panties on to read it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It is quite brutal, but I think what you're going
What's up,
for,
Lucretius?
hey Lucretius, what you're going for really hits home, because I mean it gets you in the feels. It gets you right there in the heart.
Oh yeah. Listen. We were getting, and we still to this day, when they see the comic book at the conventions, kids run up and they're like, "Oh, I want this. This looks great." Yada yada. And I tell the parents, I said, "Listen, when I was your age," and I tell this to the kids actually first. I said, "When I was your age, I wanted to be Spider-Man, Batman, you know, Superman, etc., etc. But this is the character." And I look over to the parent. This is the hero that your dad wants to be, that your mom wants to be. You know, if left to, this is the hero that adults want to be right now.
Right.
They want to be the Calico, because if they saw an innocent dog being mistreated, boy, man, they would get on that Calico suit and go to town on that person.
Yeah.
And that's what we hear continuously. And frankly, that's how I felt when I was writing the character. I said, you know what? I'm going to write a hero that I want to aspire to be.
Yeah.
And that's who I would want to be. The Calico is me in it, like I said, in a aggrandized world where I could get away with, you know, doing what the Calico does to people.
So don't make him mad, y'all. So
he's the hero that all of us want to be. So
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. No holds bar.
That's right.
Let's say hi to the chat real quick. Hello,
I'm
everybody.
trying to chat. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for
Joining
checking
us.
in and go ahead.
Nothing. I was gonna ask if do we have everything on the thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
Kickstarter campaign.
Kickstarter. Yeah. So that is going. Oh yes, I have that in the description. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of it, but it is in the description.
Great.
So the Kickstarter is currently for issue 6, correct?
Yes, issue 6. The Calico is going after Sarah Bigman of the Bigman's Food Corporation in Princeton, New Jersey. She is the one that we come across in issue 2 of Here Comes Calico. In the beginning of issue number 2 of Here Comes Calico, the Calico is basically getting information from Dog Mama about this corporation in New Jersey whose employees are doing incredibly grotesque things to, you know, what they call livestock, you know, cattle and, you know, pork, you know, pigs. And, you know, these animals are still alive. I'm not going to go into detail, but let's just say there's a lot of people who work in this industry, in these, you know, quote unquote, you know, food manufacturer corporations, these big food corps. There's some people that work in these corporations that are doing some pretty grotesque things. And that's the story here for issue 6. Now, Dog Mama has finally gathered enough information in the file, in the Bigman file, to where the Calico can put on his suit, lace up, and go after the corporation. So it's going to be pretty intense. Let's say, you know, if you thought issue 5 was intense with the Jiggler,
Jiggler,
till you
yeah,
see-
that was a heck of an intro that you had there with that. Yeah, the Jiggler, and that was another good example of well, I mean, because he was on the cover too, but it was
right,
very comic book. I mean, it was comic book accurate to what I would expect.
Right.
And I mean, right off the bat with that intro, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like it's just it's a good idea, but that was like a new bad that you can introduce. So
right.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that he was going to be right on the cover because he's a bigger than life character. You know, when you have a character like that, you know, you got to put him on the cover, even if he's only in the issue for a little bit, because he's really a draw. And everyone's talking about the Jiggler. He's quite a character. Listen, when he starts jiggling, hit the deck.
So, and I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. My brain is not working.
It's the effect of the Calico. It's a great story, and
It
there's
is
so
a
much
great
fun.
story, and you know it has a great purpose.
Right.
And I just love. There's just so many different layers and elements to the characters and the artwork. It's just like I feel like when you have a comic book, you can say, oh, you know, it has great artwork, but the story's kind of or the opposite, where the story's great, but the artwork is. I mean, sometimes it's terrible. Some of the artwork's terrible in some of the comic books. I'm just like, what? And then this has both. It has the element, and it's very shocking. Like, I feel like if you like Spartacus, you would like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you like Spartacus and you like Animal, this is right up your alley.
I can get I get the where, like you said, the comparison to a Batman.
Yes.
For the darkness. But
Yes.
I think Punisher's a good one as well. If you're just trying to think of like the big two, like those are kind of like it's like a Punisher Batman mix.
Right.
Crank that up a little bit.
That's it.
By like 1,000.
Like crank that up a bit.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This is like the Punisher and Batman for adults, you know, and
Exactly.
there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us, frankly, that, you know, we're not in our 20s anymore, and or even if we are, you know, we're more mature. We've lived some life, and the storyline that you're going to get here is definitely coming from a lived experience. You know, there's right now. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. You know, there's some kids writing comics right now in the big two. Like I'm talking about, like in their 20s, you know, early to mid 20s.
We had that one guy at was it C2E2? No, it was North Carolina. He was like, he was like what, 16, and he sold like his artwork for like $12,000 or something, or $2,000.
Whoa, kudos to them. You know, I'm not trying to demean them. You know, I think it's great that anyone at any age is participating in the world of comics. All I'm saying is that the angle we take is a more much more mature and nuanced world, and you sort of really have to pay attention to the storyline and what's going on. It's very involved and it's very fun. That's the great thing, you know, as a writer. The biggest pleasure I have in sharing any piece of creativity is when someone does the opposite of what I don't want them to do, which is, you know, any writer, the worst thing you could hear is that it's boring. There is not one page in our series that has been called boring.
No, I can. Yeah, that is accurate. That is accurate.
No, it's definitely good. Definitely good story that's mixed in there. Do you know how is the Kickstarter running right now as far as for issue 6?
Yeah, it's doing well. I think it's 60% funded. I think we have more than a couple of weeks to go.
Nice. You have that in the description as well for anybody that's maybe watching. Hey, Brian, what's up, bud?
And our community is I think that's another thing. Our community is the best.
Awesome.
Yeah. Our community is the best. I think the comic community is just so warm and welcoming. And I think it's because we've all been there. We've all been. I mean, probably not as much now, but when we were growing up, it was not cool to be a comic person It was
Right.
not cool. I mean, I'm gonna go as far as it wasn't cool to be a comic chick. Like it was like, oh, what do you know about comics?
Right.
And now
Right.
and it's like now, it's to be kind of like a nerd is cool.
Right. Being a geek, being a nerd, these are all cool words now, cool terms.
Yeah.
Shows like what's the one, Third Planet from the Moon or something like Third Rock from the Moon or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one. These are things that little by little impact real culture, and real culture is a social scientific term. So I'm going to spend a minute on this very important point because it's very relevant. So one of the main reasons why we decided to launch the way we did and why we have this comic book is because all the data that we've gleaned says unequivocally that pop culture directly impacts real culture. Again, real culture is a social scientific term. It's actually scientific. And what it means is it's the active culture in any given territory at any given time. So case in point, in how pop culture directly impacts that. Okay, look at, if you go back into the 60s, 70s, look at shows like The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Jeffersons, Will and Grace. These are all shows, pieces of pop culture, pop art that directly impacted the culture at that time. And we are at a place socially where we think very differently to those groups of people, meaning that those groups of people have creatively have been empowered because of creative art, pop art, that has been launched into the masses. And this is our hat in the fray. We know that if we know that going in, well, let's do our creative thing, our piece of pop art and pop culture, and throw our hat into this. And, if more and more people do this for the topic of fighting animal abuse, well, guess what? We're going to change real culture. We're going to have an impact on real culture. And that's what this is all about. So we're really proud of the project, and I welcome your entire audience. Seriously, every single one of you. If you love animals, you love comics, go on Kickstarter. Do it now. Open up a window on your computer. Kickstarter.com. Just type in "Here Comes Calico." And I absolutely promise you that if you support our Kickstarter, you are going to walk away with awesome comics that you are going to love. And you're going to feel great when you buy them. Buying a set of comics from Sigma Comics, I've been told several times now this. It feels clean. It's like the cleanest thing you can feel because you know that your money's actually going to a good cause and you're getting really cool comics. So that's the great thing. You can go into a convention and you can, shell out some money, but guess what? That money's going into these people's pockets at the end of the day. The money that you're giving us is actually going to fight animal abuse. And that feels, let me tell you, that feels fantastic. I can tell you from both sides of the aisle. It's a really great feeling when you're able to buy comics that do a great thing and they're super fun. So you really lose nothing in it. Go ahead, go on Kickstarter, type in "Here Comes Calico," and support our Kickstarter for issue 6. You can get the whole series there on that Kickstarter campaign. You can get a few issues, or you can get just issue 6, however you want it, digitally in print, reader version, or collector version. There's a bunch of perks there. Support the campaign, and I really think you're going to love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that we do have that link in the description as well. And again, it was interesting to meet you at the con there. Have you been able to hit any of the other cons?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, this is our first year doing cons, and by the end of the year, I think San Francisco. It's a Dallas show. I think it's called Anime Frontier. That's probably going to be our last show. But we will have done by the end of the year 40 plus shows this year.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
everything's a real deal.
Yeah, he was doing a show before this Thursday, and now he's doing one. I think this
tomorrow.
Week? Yeah,
we're going to Indianapolis. We have Fanboy Indianapolis. We were just at Rhode Island Comic Con where we sold out, and the weekend before that we were at Baltimore Comic Con. We sold out there too.
And we actually, I meant to tell you to tell everybody because we had just gone.
I snuck up to Baltimore for Saturday.
I did
was
go.
Just there for Saturday.
I did tell everybody. Never mind.
Yeah.
So we're going to be plugging Here Comes Calico until the Kickstarter is fully funded or the end of the markets come. I know our community is awesome.
Thank you.
Go buy some stuff.
Yep.
And I think if you don't mind, do you have the
Do you want to play? Are you talking about a game?
Do you want to play a game?
Do you want to play a game?
I believe
Bring it on.
I told you about this game.
Bring
I
it.
don't.
Bring
You warned him about the game?
Well, yeah, because it's so
It's
weird.
everybody's favorite YouTube game.
Bring it.
It's so weird.
Guess those Tootsies.
Of course I didn't forget. You think I would forget YouTube's favorite segment
It's
of every Let's Talk About It? All right,
All right.
so I'll explain to you the game. See, Angel has no clue the celebrity that I've chosen, but I've chosen a celebrity.
I also don't
We
know how the
have
game works.
several Tootsie picks, okay? And it's your job, the two of you, to see if you can guess who it is. You can work together, against each other together. I invite the chat to chime in, and I'll tell you what, because I wasn't sure about this particular celebrity, I got extra picks. I usually do 3 picks. I think I got 6 picks this time for you guys.
All right.
Multiple years, we've got different
you don't have a foot thing, right?
Listen, I no comment on that, but let's just say I'd rather start from the top to the bottom. But that's what
All right, let's here we go. Tootsie time. See, everybody's getting ready for it now. All right. So picture number 1. Again, all the same celebrity. These are just different pictures.
Gotcha.
Picture number 1.
That's a very grainy picture.
It is a grainy picture. I gave you extra pictures. You ready for number 2?
Yeah.
Any guesses, anybody?
No.
That's a man's foot.
Ah.
That's a man's foot.
I hope that's a man's foot.
It's a tall,
mean-
lanky.
Oh,
I'll be honest with you. I think this is a lady's foot.
Yeah. You never know these days. You never know. So.
I know who it is.
You don't know who
I know
this
who it is.
Who's
I
the
know.
guy who played? What's the guy? The Wolverine guy.
I was thinking Hugh Jackman or Henry
Yeah.
Cavill
So
because they're both very hairy.
Yeah.
you see a hairy leg and you're going to
Yeah.
say Henry Cavill or Hugh Jackman?
Yes. Because I said Zendaya every single time, and then you waited
True.
till I
True.
did. I swear you hit it, and then hit it when I didn't say her.
This is the only thing about your guess, though. Okay. I
he's
don't
thin.
know if either one would be sandal guys.
Yeah. Listen, I take my. I don't think that's Hugh Jackman. He strikes me as being a tall, thinner. I think he's going to be thinner than Hugh Jackman. I also think he might be either Middle Eastern or Latino. Yeah, I'm thinking he's. He strikes me as being either Middle Eastern or Asian, or he's tall. He's
We got
definitely.
Hemsworth guess. Pocan Joe's throwing up. All right, I got one more picture, and then we're gonna take final guesses.
Could be what's his name?
What about
The guy
Moon Knight?
from The Matrix, Keanu Reeves, could be him.
What about Moon Knight guy?
Oh, that's possible. How tall is the Moon Knight guy?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it might be. Or it could be what's his name? Affleck. The other pictures maybe it was Affleck with a tan, but does he tan well, Affleck?
He does.
I think he does.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well,
In a recent movie, you know what? I'm not going to give the chat any clues.
Oh, come on.
I got 7 pictures on here.
Do you-
It's up to the two of you in the chat. We got one Hemsworth. Jason Momoa. Okay, so we got
Jason
some.
Momoa.
Yeah, we've got
No.
some.
nah.
We've got some Aquaman
No,
guesses
that's
here.
that's too skinny for Momoa.
Yeah, he's too skinny. This guy's thin. I think. You think he's tall and thin? I'm thinking, it might even be Affleck. Could be Affleck or.
Hey, he's going Affleck. Do you have a guess, Angel?
I'm gonna go Moon Knight or Henry Cavill.
Moon Knight. You got to pick one.
No, I don't.
You're gonna pick 2?
Yeah, he can pick 2.
No. Each of
Fine.
you gets one.
I'm gonna go with if it's Henry Cavill and I pick Moon Knight, I'm gonna be so mad. Okay, I'm gonna go with Moon Knight guy.
Moon
I
Knight
don't know his guy.
I love that you said Moon Knight guy.
Nobody knows him as anything else.
It's Henry Cavill.
Oh,
yes!
I knew it was Henry Cavill.
That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. You wait till he says it, and then you let it just float away.
Ah!
Fly, fly. Hello, Moon Knight. Not Moon Knight.
I knew it was
Listen.
Henry Cavill. That was my second guess.
Listen, this is what happens when Affleck Batman spends so much time fighting against the other guy, Superman. So,
Superman. Exactly. Thank you for playing, everybody. The latest episode of Guess Those Tootsies.
Guess those Tootsies.
I thought about doing that, and actually, there was a picture that he had where his dog was next to him, and I was like, "Nah, Angel might catch that." I was like, "If you see Henry Cavill's dog and from like an Instagram post or something, I was like, she might be able to catch that," and I did
Now-
not want that to give it
now,
away.
the question I have is, has anyone actually gotten the pictures in this game?
Yes.
One person, I
got
think,
Nat-
Freaky Louie,
Got Natalie Portman's feet.
Natalie Portman, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. We
That's
had
And
impressive.
we've had a couple. So we had a couple team battles where there was like 2 versus 2, and one person would guess it, and the other person would talk them out of it.
we had
and-
also a person that missed their own feet.
Wow.
No, it was a YouTuber that missed his own feet. Had a picture of his feet. Didn't know it was his own feet.
Do you know? Did you guys know that there's a phobia, that it's a real phobia? People are afraid of their own feet. Did you know this?
No. But
Afraid
that's
of
why
their
I was
own feet?
asking. I didn't mean fetish. I meant phobia. Like, he used to have a phobia of feet, ironically. He didn't like to look at other people's feet.
Okay.
I don't know what she's talking about. This is
doesn't
all
like
this
feet.
is all new to me.
All right.
Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on. I don't want to take too much of your time up. I will. I'm honestly, I'll give you the stage here. If there's anything that you want to tell everybody about, again, everybody check out the description. I've got Instagram. I've got the website. We have the YouTube channel that I put on there as well. Anything additional that you want to plug, or anything that you want to tell the folks that's coming up. And again, the stage is yours, sir.
Sure. Well, I just want to let you know that we'll be, if you have anyone, family members or friends in Indiana, we're going to be in the Fanboy Indianapolis tomorrow. We'll be at New York Comic Con. I'm sorry, we'll be at the New York Anime NYC the following weekend. And, we're just spreading the message of fighting animal abuse through comics. And, Sigma Comics is dedicated to the fight against animal abuse with Here Comes Calico. And it's because of shows like yours, people like yourselves that support our comic book, that we're able to do it. So everyone in the audience, go out there right now, get on Kickstarter.com. It just takes a few seconds. Here Comes Calico, and read up on the story, read up on all the artists and creatives that are working on the project, including myself. Great artist, Renato Pinto, interior artist. Garner Biel, fantastic artist in the cover. And of course, Danielle Grimaldi doing the beautiful colors. Everybody comes together to form Voltron on a wonderful cause, which is fighting animal abuse through comics. So join us, join our fight against animal abuse. It's a wonderful thing. You're going to feel good. You're going to get this comic book, and you're going to be so excited to get it. And let me tell you, you're going to love it.
Yes.
That is awesome. Well, again, thank
Thank
you
you
so much
for
joining
coming on.
us.
We really appreciate it. We know you're super busy with all the cons, and we just thank you so much.
Yeah, and sorry it took us a year to come back around.
Well, he sent me a thing, and I was like, "Oh, bye! Since you're sending me this, what's up?"
That's the thing.
Thank you.
I got to think about this, like, oh my gosh, it's almost been a full
I was like,
year
"I don't even think he
since we
remembers
talked
me."
about this, because we specifically were like, yeah, we need to get you on the show and everything. Just
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
animals are
But,
very dear to my heart, whether they have fins, flippers, scales,
oh yeah.
fur.
Well, again, awesome job on the book. The team is awesome. It's really
Thank you so
cool.
much.
Everybody that you've assembled for this, I'm super impressed, and I can't wait to see the new issue. That's going to be exciting,
Yes,
and to
We'll
see
be-
where we go from
see where
there.
it ends.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. We're excited to get it out to you. And just one last thing. The minute this Kickstarter ends, we are going to turn around those books ASAP, because the book is already in production. So it's not going to take you a long time. A lot of times with these Kickstarters, they take weeks, in some cases months, to get the product in your hand. Nope. It'll literally take days by the time the thing closes. So get in your orders now. You're going to have the first copies of Here Comes Calico issue 6. And we sign the first, because when we meet the goal, we send out signed copies. So you guys are going to get signed copies of issue 6. You guys are going to get stickers. You're going to get a lot of great stuff. Get on it now. You're going to love it. I'm telling you, you're going to love it.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna play everybody out to this, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Closing time to roll to Chili's and chow down with my fucking boys.